actually, you start to realize that actually this man, there's a problem. But other things as basic as coming back home late.
Yes.
Been showing up at home 7, but bro now is coming at 10. Man, what are you doing? He tells you there's a boys match.
There's work.
But now you know there's no match.
a boys match.
He tells you,
my guy was not okay.
At work, but yet actually he's at work watching porn. You see?
Yes.
Or is he at work in the bathroom masturbating. These things we are not talking about them, but there's a guy out there who's listening to this conversation, and actually this is what is happening.
It's happening, exactly.
He's no longer valuing sex because he's objectified it in masturbation and pornography. He's not seeing any value. Muchala is asking for game. The guy is seeing game for what? Me, I'm having a blast. That's right. Satisfaction.
True. Very
All
true.
these things point to there's something that's not going right with this guy, and someone needs to reach out to them. And if you're a man, you're listening to this conversation, and you're a person who's experiencing this, or even some other things, you're failing to perform at work. You used to turn in your reports in time. You no longer do. You used to be prioritizing things very well at work. You begin with what is most needed at the moment, but now you spend a lot of time on TikTok videos. You used to be a guy who's intentional about taking water, but now you've lost charge of your life. You don't care about how water is important for your life. You used to eat some breakfast. You used to be the one greeting people when you come in. Now you no longer feel the essence of greeting people. You are no longer appreciating the essence of community and friendships. Something's going wrong. Man, it's okay.
True. Very true. We are still listening to Mind Matters here with Mwalimu and RoniRhymes. I will say those are your names, then AKA whatever. And we are getting deeper into men's mental health. And we can really see that there is a problem. There is a problem.
You know, Ronnie mentioned something that now he's practicing. Of course, we are changing the narrative. He's learned how to discipline the children better. I'm a person who is also inclined to tradition, that I wouldn't throw out the cane completely, because sometimes those children need some spanking for the wisdom to come back. Moderate. Moderate.
You balance.
He's talking, you start talking. Sometimes you can talk and talk, but sometimes
and the saliva gets finished.
Very true.
But I'm saying the whole idea is you have the best interest of these children. And you're trying to make it as safe as possible. Discipline and punishment are different.
Very
Discipline
true.
is positive, is intended to bring out the behavior that you want to see in this child. And you're doing it with a heart that is empathetic, that is compassion, because this is your child. You're not trying to kill him. No, you're trying to. So he mentioned about that love thing, and I realized men struggling with expression is that even if you walk to a bro and you start wanting to initiate a friendship, or tell a man you love him, the guy will be surprised. Say, man, are you straight? But yet actually we need to hear that. I mean, love is the greatest feeling, that it's the greatest need for all of humanity. We want to love and to be loved.
Can I interject a bit? There's a time I was talking to one of my clients, and I told them, do you know why women are becoming better at us at everything? They have a circle of girls they call when things are down. They open up in the intricate details of the problem. My husband came late. He had Chutex on the thing. Some stuff was this. They explain in explicit detail. Such that even when you didn't study, you can understand there's a problem. Now, for us, communication, I think we need some help in communication. We are so good at business. Communicating business is not a problem. But explaining our emotions, how we feel. There's a time back when I was still at home, my mother told me, I saw her crying. So I said, this guy, what has this guy done to her this time? I think this is the time when I'm going to put on my man boots and I tell this guy, what's the issue? Then she said, no, Ronnie, relax. First of all, this is not your area. Husband, wife, you a child, number one. Number two, when women cry, they're most likely going to forgive you, which means they are healing. So I started asking myself, how do men heal? We don't want to cry, because I know at the bottom of every man's heart, they can cry, but we don't want to cry. That's one. Two, we don't want to open up because of vulnerabilities. So you see how this is a disservice to us. If you look at it from a logical point of view, it's a disservice to us. Take an example. Boyfriend, girlfriend are arguing. They argue the first night. She consults her ladies, the guy doesn't consult. They come back in the argument, she has new information. That means logically, she's a step above winning you.
Yes.
It goes to the next day. Now she has not only gone to her friends, she has even gone to her family. They've talked about it. She has more information. She comes back in the fight. You haven't talked to anyone. You've probably gone, had a drink or had a night out. You're still where they left you.
Yes.
You see how the woman is going to start to look at you like you're unproductive? Yeah. Where she was saying, my king, she's going to start saying, my man.
So, let me defend the man. Let me break it down for you.
Please.
Let me now come back at you hard. Please. Let me tell you something.
Yes.
Because of our training and the context we've grown up in, let me tell you, Ronnie, I fear to tell a man because there are some reasons. There are men who do not appreciate our vulnerability, that by the fact, let me tell you, by the time a man everyone tells you about their problem. It's like now that that's it. But the challenge we get at family level or even fellow men trying to do life is confidentiality. Is trust.
I agree with you.
Is judgment.
I agree with you.
Very true.
I will find a man,
Yes.
drop on him the bombshell. I say, bro, I've been around the whole circus and I've failed to find a way. But then there are some men who, instead of supporting us and giving a shoulder to lean on when we tell them these things, because they have not been trained, because they do not know how valuable this is for us, instead of keeping the trust when we tell them what we tell them, and I don't call those men, I call them boys. Just drink beer and in banter, and someone tells them they are abusing their wives, and they think, that's what makes you a man. That's what makes you masculine. He has no emotional connection with the children. They're like, man, that's it. Just come here, we drink beer, we go back. You go Friday, you go back home, Sunday evening. Now, I don't call that a man. They don't know what they want. They have no goals in life. So what I'm telling you, the reason some men don't talk, we have not found a place that is safe for us to break down, to open up about the things we struggle with, until a man has found a place where he has established confidentiality, trust, and non-judgmental environment.
Basically,
then man will be able to talk. You know why there are challenges in families? Because when a man opens up about what they're struggling with, the next time there's a conversation that's unpalatable at home, the woman is going to use that against them. And once you do that, you're shutting the man down. He'll never again open up about anything they're struggling with, because when they opened up about it, seeking a place of safety and support and creating trust for you to be vulnerable with each other, you use it against him. And that's the end of it. And you know,
so it builds stigma. And then there's also social pressure.
Exactly.
Of we have incidences where say that the talking of women is good for them. The problem is what they are talking about. Is it good for the family or for the man?
Can I interject? I want to switch personalities here. I want to change from a media personality and a therapist to a coach.
Okay.
Now I'm in four-wheel drive. Now I'm in four-wheel drive. Guys, when we grow as men, we need to help ourselves. This is an international problem. If I talk to you the first time and you break my trust, cancel you out. There's no time for you being a savior. There's no God. I even tell it to guys who are married. If your wife is making you sit in the car stressed about entering, you better address that problem. One, you're a man. Men are naturally born with a leadership mantle. It just needs developing. Who is a leader? That's wrong. I don't like the way you approach this matter. Sometimes it's hard. Everybody will say, they say everybody runs their home the way they do. But if it's pressing you and it's coming from a fellow man or a woman, you need to step up. Say, Mwalimu, no. I don't like ABCD. If they feel they are not understanding you, just put Mwalimu on the side. So whenever Mwalimu is around, I just say, what's up? That's not my guy. If Bekunda comes and says, hey, what's the issue? Bring Bekunda. It is a very of get. We are not going to be complaining. If your guys are saying, man, we entered this circle 50K a week, you're failing.
Yeah.
Measure up. Measure up. There's nothing, the excuses. A man's world is not filled with excuses.
Yeah.
At least measure up to the point where your fellow men say, we see you're measuring up, but you can't make it. Me, I'm going to add 10K for you every week. Another guy is going to say, me, I won't be adding 20K for you. That's starting now. Just work for 20. So, but because they have seen that you're saying, I can't give up. I can't let you down. I can't lose this. I can't be seen like this, because I feel like also this on and on, back and forth from a coach perspective, because what a coach does, he gets the skill and experience and professionalism, puts them together and gives you a way forward. He's not supposed to beat around the bush or banter, because so many guys complain about the world is tough on men.
Yeah, unemployment.
I'm telling you. But isn't there an alternative? If there's no unemployment, can't you do something? Don't you have a skill? Don't you have a talent that you can put your whole entire brain onto that and achieve something, rather than looking at the negative? You also know there's a psychological effect of always looking at the negative. Well, there are guys abakula, but they've made it over a period of time. So when you look at it from a logical point of view, sometimes the world is going to be harsh on you, but don't let that harsh step into your forwardness. Because let me tell you, there are so many guys whose families are breaking down because they're keeping quiet.
Basically, we're talking about resilience and support.
Resilience, yes.
So I just wanted to conjoin in something in what he said.
Yes.
I think to put in it like a catalyst. I think I appreciate what you said. I think I would also be a person who agrees that because the man has opened up to someone, whether a wife or whoever, and they have broken their confidentiality, it should not out themselves. It should not cause them to give up on trying to seek help. Because we're not talking about just finding a trusted friend, a bro to do life with. There's also other options of counseling, going to a professional therapist and talk about these things that you can't be able to talk about with your wife. And by the way, I'm clear, crystal clear about this, that it doesn't have to be your wife if you've not built a relationship until where you feel comfortable to be vulnerable with her and talk about this. Because some actually have built a relationship where it says, my wife is my friend, and because of this trust is actually what is holding her. People are having their ATMs put there, and guys tell you how this has saved them a waste of money, relationships outside marriage, and how it has helped them to enjoy game, sex, and whatever, because it's emotional. The wife is happy, the relationship with the husband is good, they love their children, and it informs everything. So I challenge you as a man. That, you know, they have already said man up, but let's change that narrative, that if you can't man up because of the stereotype, let's now speak up. Let's seek help where we have, because the worst we can do to ourselves is not seeking the help. So whatever could have happened to us, we could have opened up to a fellow guy, and the guy broke our trust, broke the confidentiality, judged us, but that doesn't stop. One experience in life doesn't stop us from continuing pushing to that is good. I also want to add this, that men, we are lazy in the area of establishing and nurturing slow-paced, long-term, meaningful friendships. We're here talking about stronger together, and I think that's why we're here.
You know, when you talk about that, somebody I was having a conversation with told me, he's a doctor. He said, you see, because we are men, there are certain things that are natural. And he says, we have testosterone. Women have estrogen. So they are naturally meant to be that way. For us, we are naturally meant to be this way. So for him, his question was, seeing my physiology, how can I be what you're telling me to be when I was not created to be like that?
So thank you, Bill. And this is again the challenge we men have. That a man who doesn't know will not accept that they do not know. We have believed a lie that we actually know. So when you talk about men's mental health, even maybe things we've not divulged into, we will find some other time, are the stereotypes that we have about things like self-care, like doing health checkups. We have poor health-seeking habits. And you are saying this is a thing of women. Women gather and talk about their feelings and they express themselves and they are healing.
And
for you, when they say we are meeting as men to have conversation,
you're not there.
You are saying it's a women's thing. But men who are meeting in groups to have conversation, because I think I had Trevor Noah and Simon Sinek saying there's this mantra that wherever men meet, there must be a third thing. Either pork or either we're watching football. But we want to meet as men where there's no third thing. It is you versus me. As a group, we're having real defining conversations. Bill, how have you been holding up? We know about this guy who went through a divorce. How are you holding up? You're playing a father and a mother. We know that your income streams have been shaken. Now you were part of the USAID thing and Trump has done his thing. How are you holding? Those are the conversations. But men will tell you, that's the thing for women. But you know, when we don't talk about these things, we bottle them up. And when we bottle them up, the problems later talk back to us. When they talk back to us, they never whisper. So I was saying that we need to be intentional. It takes intentionality. It takes intentionality for a man to get out of his way, to build a friendship, initiate a friendship with another man, and make this friendship very valuable, that's going to end up being a safe space where you can be able to talk about something that you're struggling with, a friend that you can call at 2 a.m. And let me ask you, maybe men out there, do you have a friend? When did you last talk to someone about something deeply? And maybe I can count on this guy anytime, whenever I'm going through something, I can ask them.
So basically, we would say for us, we are safe. We do have people to talk to. There is also another thing that we need to emphasize on is that know whom to talk to. I think you hinted about that. You don't just talk to anybody. Because you've met someone in a church or you've met someone who makes you feel and because you might talk to the wrong person. Could you expand on that, please? So it's very important.
I think same way we do not know who is the right person to build a friendship with. And I think this is why we coin in the thing of also mentorship. Sometimes it's an elder brother, sometimes an elder man at work. But there are people that we look at their lifestyles and we admire. And this is not to say that they are perfect. They have weaknesses in their lives. But there's a way they have managed them. There's an aura around them about their decency, about their emotional stability, about how they do their fatherhood role, about how they are authentic men in society, that what you see in the public is what you see at their home. And some of them have even made an effort to say, Bill, can we go for some coffee? Then you start seeing someone who's actually initiating. Again, it's two-way. Friendships are looked for. They're initiated. The first time we met, you greeted and said, man. Then next thing you're talking about the things you like. But men, we are lazy about this. We just want to meet and drink beer and talk about nothing sensible. And we think these are friends. Or the people we meet at work think that goes more than just work friends, those beer boys and what. I have 3 guys who are my deep circle. They're my close partners. We talk about deep things that happen. When we break down, we talk, we meet, we cry, we pray together, everything. Now, that one is not something that builds overnight. It's something that is built over some time. But every man, whoever you are, wherever you are, we can start on this. We go out and also people meet us. We can't sit here and say guys are going to come to us. And when that happens, and again you realize that those things thrive when it is during the time of when we are going through tough moments. Vulnerability.
Absolutely.
It takes vulnerability. Now, but the problem is that men fear vulnerability. It has been misinterpreted because of our culture.
So how do they get this vulnerability?
So we need to get to a place as men where we appreciate that vulnerability is not weakness. Rather, it's a core principle in the emotional framework of true masculinity. Man, if your friend is a hero, or in your group the guy is a hero, you've never seen him break down, you've never seen him asking for help. Actually, trust is built by asking for help rather than giving it. You are not the one who is always supporting everybody all the time. You also need, indeed, how those friendships become strong and become a place of confidentiality and trusting one another is because this guy is also human. He asks you for help for some time. But if he doesn't ask for help, and then this friendship is not, it's like the guy is just, he's doing the most.
Yes.
For you, because we open up about things that we struggle with. So the guy says, if you are struggling with something and we're building a friendship and you don't tell me to come and help you, you're denying me an opportunity to actually effectively use this friendship that we share to be able to serve you. How can you say that I didn't call you because I didn't want to bother you? No, I'm the person you're supposed to bother because we are friends. And this is what friends are for.
Yeah.
That is how it works.
That's how it works. Powerful. Yeah, it's really powerful. And you see, we have to understand that as men.
Yeah.
But considering, I'm a man.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a man.
Conversation of men.
But when you say I'm a man, because even how I made it, I'm a man.
Yeah.
Someone expects you to be like I'm a bad guy. Then there is the thing that since I'm a man, I should know. Yes, I've not disagreed that crying is a part of vulnerability.
But we need to know.
But what about the question? That was the question I was going to ask Ronnie. Is it important to know when to cry or where to cry from? Because this conversation actually came from yesterday at Safe Places. I was talking with all the females were there. And I happened to be the only male in the mix.
We work with Bill at Safe Places Uganda, by the way.
Wow.
Yes, Safe Places is the best rehabilitation and treatment center.
Absolutely.
But anyhow, not to divert, I was having a conversation with them. And the question was, because I actually am the one who asked it. They said, no, you should be able to cry, you should do this. And I said, but now if I'm seated here and I just break down and start crying, is that a positive thing or negative? So I think maybe let's, Ronnie, talk about that.
Still in my coaching personality. There's a very super intelligent guy called Andrew Tate. I don't know whether you know him. Very crazy guy. He comes off as bold. People say he's unapologetic. He was once a fighter, right? Crazy guy. They say he throws around his masculinity and it nags. But let me tell you, every man should have a purpose. Every man should have a vision. But every man who has a purpose and vision steps up into his leadership role. Because when you have a vision, you know where you want to go. You know who you need. If Mwalimu is not for you, he's off. You can't even sit down and have an argument. Okay? I want to go to the US. Mwalimu is telling me go to the Muchalo. Off. Bekunda is telling me, I can connect to someone who can get your passport. On. Period. Whenever you have your vision and your purpose aligned, as a man, you step into your leadership role. Now, in the coaching world, this is how they view leadership. You are at the top, everything is down, apart from God. Which brings in the spiritual aspect of things. There has to be, as a man, there has to be something more powerful than you for you to respect.
Okay.
That's why they say some men are succeeding because they come around with this positive energy of winning. And that's what gets them through, because they're seeing everybody as low. Whenever a man understands that there's someone who is a higher power than them, let me give you an example. For me, it is God. I know if I cry to God, I want to be ashamed, I want to be humiliated.
Yes.
I want to be put down. When you understand that, it helps you to understand that as a human being, you have to be vulnerable. It's a part of life. How you're vulnerable depends on you.
Yes.
If you're so lucky that aside from God, you have an inner circle of men who you can be vulnerable with, the better.
Yes.
Does that mean that's a miracle? No. In the coaching world, those are things you build. Do you know how to build those relationships? You don't know. That takes you to another step. Find out how to build such relationships. Some guys are lucky. They found the loves of their lives. Women who are loyal to them, honest to them, they support them. They give them emotional support, you know.
Yes.
They come through when there's financial distress. If he and of person, it creates a certain sense of balance for that masculinity, because for every man you need a softer touch. That's when, if they don't know it, either by birth or by association, that means the fact that you have a mother, there's a certain side of your composition that is built that requires a female perspective. So if you have a mother, you're lucky. If you don't have a mother, sometimes you need a sister. Sometimes you need a wife, a girlfriend.
Yes.
Now, the question is, some guys get the wrong. We've been talking about friendships. I've said hello to Mwalimu, he hasn't replied. You put that one aside, you know Mwalimu doesn't reply. You say hello to Bekunda, he says hello back. Now, of course, Bekunda and Bekunda is above Mwalimu. You understand?
Yes.
Because he has given me that positive communication. So for sometimes, men, we're making the mistakes ourselves. You're choosing the wrong friends. You're in relationships with the wrong people. And when they give you negative fallback, it affects you. And it creates a complaining kind of... Yes, because you're always complaining. Me, I'm always getting the wrong girls. Me, I'm always getting the wrong friends. Then do something about your system of getting the friends. Period. Because you see, at the end of the day, you're not going to walk around and start explaining, me, I'm always getting the wrong friends, so I think that's why I'm like this. No. It gets back to who are you? What's your vision? What's your purpose? Your vision is this. Find people who align to your vision. That doesn't mean you're going to miscalculate, find a person who you think aligns to your vision and they don't. And when you find that out, put that one aside. Go cheated, it is the fact. I was cheated either because of ignorance or I was deceived. Now, get over your healing process and move forward. Because at the end of the day, I'll tell you, the fact is we are men. Nobody is going to help us. Sometimes you need to get out of your comfort zone and say, hey, you guy, why is it that I can't talk? Find a person who you can talk to and say,
I think so that I think
I was going to say,
I think that both way responds what you said, because it's not like nobody is going to help us, but then you're literally actually answering that again and saying it is us to actually go out and seek the help. We can't be seated and wallowing and thinking it's going to come to us.
Yes.
Which is not easy.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to see. I think I was thinking through this whole conversation of vulnerability and whatever. I think there's a deeper question to ask. Why do men fear it? Then that causes us to say, what would make it comfortable for them to be vulnerable? I think that becomes a clear question.
I love that.
Of what would make it safe, which is a normal question we ask in counseling, maybe group therapy, of saying, we are here, the three of us. Is there anything you would love to hear from us to make you feel safe being here and being able to open up and share what you're comfortable with? And again, and we are trying to see how we can build support systems for men to say that, look, you're not pushed to share everything you have been going through in this first meeting. You may not even talk about it.
Yes.
But men do not normally respond to things on the first time. That's our inclination. But men, if you are intentional and follow up about what you're asking of, they see a person is committed to the journey, and then they also come along to be able to respond. So that's I thought we would. That's the question we ask. What would make it comfortable for us to be vulnerable? And vulnerability is not just crying.
Yes.
It is talking about things that are even deeply secretive for us. But we are comfortable because we found a place of trust, a place of confidentiality, and a place where we won't be judged when we talk about it. And doesn't mean that every time we talk about that, we'll cry. Maybe if those experiences trigger us and remind us of difficult experiences and we break down. But even then, it doesn't mean that someone is going to cry.
I know, but you see, I think the most difficult thing about men is about when it comes to crying. It is like, it is on the top of the list. Okay, I can do this, I can do this, but crying in front of people.
So this is what happens.
It becomes, that's why I specifically keep talking about.
Let me break it down this way. That men, if we narrow the conversation about just the emotion crying, we are missing the deeper conversation about what it is an expression of emotion.
Yes.
When someone tells a very beautiful and nice joke at not making any adverts for any, but any of the
it's okay.
Okay, let's say comedy store.
It's okay.
You burst out in laughter.
Yes.
Bill, you do a lot of work about addiction rehabilitation and counseling.
Yes.
You know that when guys take this drug, it now replaces a normal emotion where someone will tell a joke and you laugh.
Yes.
Now it is the heroine that's causing you to live in a place of where it's ecstatic.
Yes.
It's transcendence. You're in a place of cool and you don't want anyone to get out of there.
Yes.
Don't we cry if we if anything happened that was very, very difficult. So we want to first appreciate this from a place of crying. Let me tell you, as a Christian man, there are times I've woken up, I've been in prayer and worship, but because of how I'm connecting to the words I'm singing and speaking about, tears come. This is not because I'm crying, there's a problem and whatever, but it's emotional. So we need to appreciate it as the expression of emotion. Then we won't limit ourselves to say, if it comes, then it means I'm weak. It can come when times are good. A father can be leading the children in worship as a priest of the home, and because of his spiritual connection and what's happening, a tear can come. Does that mean, does he start now to run around to get a towel and also turn around and nod? He's not being authentic. Does that make him less of a father?
No. Okay, time is never enough.
It's true.
When we were beginning this show, I thought 2 hours was like a long time. What shall we talk about? Because every time I was being interviewed on a radio station or something, they interview you for 1 hour and they're like, hey, there is no time. But still,
now
there's never enough
in your lifetime. You are the one seeing.
I'm the one seeing still that there's 2 hours is not enough. Maybe we need the whole day. But this is a very good conversation.
Thank you.
And you guys have been in it for a while. What do you encourage people to do? I'll start with you, Ronnie. What do you encourage people to do?
Okay.
Men to do.
Get into the habit of being self-aware. Who are you? Let me give an example. Who is Ronnie? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What is your vision? What do you want to do in the next 5 years? What do you want to do in the next year? What are you good at? What are you doing right now? Start with that. When you master that, you get to understand who you are.
Yes.
Let me give you an example. I chose IT. I was in IT for a couple of years. Then I switched. I went into media. I made a deliberate decision to switch.
Yes.
I didn't say I wasted my years in IT. No, I just said that chapter, I feel I'm tired of it. I need to go to the next. Because I made a self-evaluation of my situation, the world, and the experience. So let men get into the habit of being self-aware.
Okay.
Who are you, Bekunda? What can you manage? What can't you manage? Okay, I think I have an alcohol problem. What are you doing about it? Is it good for you? It's not good for you. Do you need help? If you need help, it's an honest, these things seem like they're very complicated, but it's an honest, a simple question. What do I need to do? Oh, today I have a show with Bekunda. What does that mean? That means I need to be early.
Yes.
Do I have transport? Am I going to use a car? Basics. When you get to that level, you start to appreciate who you are. You start to know, for example, I keep on telling people, me when I was growing up, I had a temper issue. So I knew. So when I'm interfaced with someone and someone is trying to tick me off, I know, someone wants to get on my bad temper. I walk away. But someone can choose to say, walking away means you're weak. You need to be there. The guy jogs you, then you jog him, then you guys fight and you see who's the winner. That's another perspective. But on another perspective, I don't need this. I don't need to attack him, but he's attacking me. It means he has a problem. So you walk away from that situation. Yes. And basically, sometimes that's how life is. You will never go through life without being hurt, without being disappointed. Sometimes you're in the wrong relationship and you think it's the right one. I've been in it before. I've had a girlfriend who I thought was my world, and then I realized, blunder. And surprisingly, I saw the red flags, but I said, these things can change.
You're blind to them.
Young man in love can't be advised.
You can't. But I chose to learn from my situation, and now I have a wife who I trust, who I believe in, who supports me, sometimes it's hard to tell them, sometimes you can say, if I tell her this thing, she's going to kumanyira me in the future. Then you realize it's a perception. Do it. And in case she kumanyiras you in the future, you still have the audacity to come and say, look here, my darling, when you do this, this is wrong. This kumanyiras me, I don't like this. This is like this. That's the man that is originally supposed to be. Yes. The other thing, seek help. Very many times men see help as weakness. Yes. No. Help means you have wisdom enough to know wanotoita wo. You need to either talk to 1, 2, 3 men or even women for the purpose of getting you to a better place. For the purpose of, look at it like a roadblock.
Yes.
I can't pass. So what do you need to do? You need to talk to the officer. If you talk to the officer badly and you tell him, I'm late, I'm supposed to go for a show, you've blocked, you think they're going to open for you? But all that takes time. You need to learn. You first need to know who yourself is. Who am I? Of course, if I find a load block, wires are going to off. So now, instead of wires going off, let me get back to the basics. Talk to this guy very well. Maybe there's an issue. Oh, the president is going to use that road. Now you don't even need to be aggressive to the guy, but also seek help. And help can be as much as, Bekun, I'm struggling with this issue. What do you know about it? You may not even say, sometimes you may not even say I'm struggling with this. You just say, Bekun, what do you know about Mercedes Benzes? Then the guy will judge you. Hey, you know the oil filters? Yet your problem is actually an oil filter. You've gotten your answer. If you can be a better man, say I have a Mercedes Benz and I'm having trouble with my oil filter. Maybe he doesn't have the answer. Talk to another guy who is your friend, or tell him, do you know anybody in your circles who has a Mercedes Benz? It can start as that. That's all help. But the biggest issue is perception and how you look at the thing. Sometimes you look at your fellow man, you say, this guy is big, I'm sure he can beat me to death. 1 year into the relationship, the guy tells you, I'm the biggest coward you'll ever know.
True.
How did that come about? Facing your fears, saying, man, I need to understand who this guy is.
Yes.
But when you're talking about men, one, you need to be self-aware. Who are you? When you align these questions, who are you, get your vision in check, it's easy to sometimes even have things fall off that have been disturbing you. You understand? Your goal is to be a media personality. Now, what are you doing in astronomy? Why are you reading a book on astronomy? Why are you reading a book on mental health? You're reading a novel on romance, but your goal is being a media personality. You should be with radio presenters, DJs. That's aligning your goal, which means even the people you're going to associate with are going to be within your vision, which will create a good aura. But now your media personality, you're dealing with aerospace guys. They're going to talk about planes, you know nothing. You're going to go to YouTube, it takes you a year to understand such things. So that helps you, first of all, align yourself.
Yes.
Now, when you align yourself, it's easy to know what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And sometimes we just need to be honest with ourselves. I've been in 2 failed marriages. Was I the problem? Why is it that I'm going to a 3rd one? Maybe it is me.
True.
Seek some help. If you are so strong of a man, sit down and do an evaluation on yourself. I did this was wrong. I need to stop that. I did this was... Yes, but if you know you can't do a self-evaluation on yourself, seek some professional help. Go to a therapist. Go to a friend who you know has your best interest. And by best interest, it means being vulnerable. And there's nothing wrong with vulnerability until you see that it has a problem.
Exactly.
I'll just finish with one, just to explain vulnerability.
Yes.
When I was growing up, I was a short guy. I had a problem with tall guys, Manangi. Because they're tall, they look cool, you know. I just had a problem with tall guys. But do you know why? Because I was short.
Okay.
Then I realized, this height thing is not really an issue unless you want to play basketball. You can run, you can play badminton, you can play tennis. And the ladies don't really like tall guys. It's just like... It's just that they stand out tall and they see them before you.
Are you guys consoling me? I think I'm the shortest in the street. But I think it's a good one. You're continuing with that thing of self-awareness. I think when you learn there are some things, because at the end of the day, at the very bare minimum, really, we're created in the image of God.
Yes.
And there are some things that has given us, and the moment we appreciate who we are in and be okay in that and allowed to flourish in the things we can be able to do, we cease to fight things that we have no control about. Maybe my height, maybe my skin color, maybe... And again, that becomes a mental health problem, self-image. Because some men probably see some Instagram men with a rugged chest and whatever, and you feel like, maybe if I don't get a rugged chest, my wife will leave me or whatever.
Yes.
Who has put these expectations on you? We call that a cage in counseling. You put these shoes in your life, of which when you fail to get to, you feel frustrated and beaten out, yet actually you are the one who put yourself in there. What am I saying? Lack of a safe outlet leads to emotional isolation, breakdowns for men, getting into addictions, and even committing suicide. But remember, we're here talking about stronger together, how men can build mental health resilience. First, ask yourself, how important is this? This provides emotional safety, it provides accountability, it provides honest feedback. If you're doing a real authentic friendship with the person you trust, it gives encouragement when things are not working out.
100%.
Do you treasure this? Then if you know you treasure those, then what are barriers that stop men from seeking help? What are some of those cultural expectations of stoicism and other things that make men fail to seek for help? How do I change man up to actually speaking up? How do I realize that actually the strongest thing for a man to do is actually to seek help, not try to deal with it alone or take it to a bottle or some other things.
Yes.
Fear of judgment. What's the worst that can happen? In Unyankole Ruchiga, we have a fumu Ruchiga. Instead of dying, we get ashamed.
Yes.
I talk about my problem, Bill will laugh at me, but give me the help that I need, and I get to make it. Yeah. The people you see there who you call heroes, they also have their own things they struggle with, but you'll not know until you get to that man. And I will add that, what's the other thing? Not knowing where to start. Sometimes as men we say, man, where do I start from? They have known me as a champion in this group. And you know how this feels, especially in the area. But then you're asking yourself, am I the one who's going to come next time? And at this workplace, I'm saying, man, I've been through a session. I've learned that actually to be a man is to acknowledge that also you have some weaknesses. You're not the only one who knows everything.
Absolutely.
Again, let me challenge men. Men, let's not fall for the deception that we know everything. Ignorance is not bliss. There are many things we do not know about. I don't know about IT. Like he mentioned, some things I want to grow in, I have to learn. I'm an MC, but I'm always looking out for these guys who are mentors, the Chamagiros, the Ronis, whatever. Let's learn. There's always a place to start. When we organize these meetings of mental health support groups for men, AA, Alcoholics Anonymous for, by the way, these groups are for, women do their things and come, but for us, we don't come because we think we know. These are things for women. They are there for us men. Men, let's keep coming for meetings. Let's keep learning. Let's keep growing. You don't come into those spaces, the things you're struggling with, someone is sharing a testimony. Someone is sharing how they're fathering their children. The man cave space, Twitter spaces, but also physical meetings, but also finding a trusted friend, an adult you can do life with. Past betrayals of broken trust. Those things hurt us. Yes, but you see, there's a difference between victimhood and victimization.
Yes.
All of us have experiences we went through when we were growing up, but if we sat down on ourselves saying, this is it, and then we go into this unhelpful thinking of catastrophizing and making conclusions and saying we'll never be anything, where would we be now? So when that happens, then we start redefining strength as men. We start cherishing vulnerability for what it is. That vulnerability is strength. We just need to know who to find and trust and confide in. Asking for help is courageous. It's not for the cowards. Asking for help is for a courageous man. Because he's self-aware. He knows his strength. He knows his weaknesses. He knows what he can be able to do. Therefore, the right thing and the strongest thing to do is to go out courageously if it is taking a course. Let's talk about fatherhood. Some of us were not fathered well. We were talking about a discussion about fatherhood. It was a Father's Day. And we have wounds, traumas we went through growing up. If we don't process these, we transfer the cycle to the children we father. To our wives, we had them without even knowing, but because the things we are dealing with that have not died have simply come out. And maybe you abuse your wife or try to beat her, yet you know that you're not kind of that person. Let's normalize learning things we do not know. You do 3 courses at university to learn about a degree you're going to use to get means of sustaining a family. Why don't you go and take a course on parenting? Or seek help? So, finally, let's turn, I've got this. Let it evolve to we've got each other. We're talking about stronger together. Men, it is important that we do life together. It starts going down the drain. This is always the trick of someone being beaten out. You see a lion scares antelopes. Lone wolf is the most wrong thing for you to do as a man. You're going to die. The lion scares the antelopes or cobs and they scatter. Those that run in troops, the lion doesn't run after those. He runs on this one that goes alone. And until it takes it down.
And it singles it out.
Exactly. That's what happens to us men also. If you don't have support systems, if you don't have a family, if you don't have a group, a troop of men, if you don't have a tribe of men we do life with, you're going to lose it. Think about how a charcoal burns on a stove. You take out one piece of the charcoal, it will burn out. But you keep it in. That's why it is important that we're having this conversation of stronger together, helping men learn how they can build mental resilience by doing life together.
Wonderful. And you know, it's all good and it sounds good. And when you get into the spaces, Man Cave, I don't know, when you're listening to Bill Bekunda, RoniRhymes, when Mwalimu is the MC and is giving It sounds all good. The question is, and someone sent me a WhatsApp and he has said, we can hype ourselves up, but what about the villagers, people in the rural area? They are still stuck in their cultural understanding and norms. Yes. And the thing is, even when we hype ourselves out here, when we go and interact with them, they put us back into the mode of remember where you come from.
Yes.
So how can we address that?
First of all, I'm going to answer it as a psychologist. I want to turn that question into some sort of correction.
Okay.
It is not hype. Dear gentlemen, the men you're seeing here, we are not creating hype. I'm a coach, he's a counselor.
Yes.
There's no hype. We're telling you the truth. Whenever you start to think of myths and those kind of mental negatives, it's hype. It's not hype. It's the truth.
Yes.
I have an issue with temper. It's the truth. I had an issue with temper. I had to work on it. Now I'm a better man. Once in a while I slip and fall, but I'm a better man. How did I become a better man? There was no hype.
Yes.
I sat down, I said, Ronnie, you have a temper. What are you going to do about the temper? I entered into psychology. I started talking to friends. I started listening to the people who know me. Hey, but Ronnie, you know Busungu. Hey, now, if 4 guys in your inner circle have told you that, there's no hype. Guys, 4 guys can't be telling you something from different corners.
Yes.
There's something I want to address. There's a mentality we have in the youth that is revolving around hype, around perception. Walk like you're, dress like you're a millionaire. You're not a millionaire.
Yes.
You're going to dress like you're a millionaire. Come here and they soak everybody 5 Then you start going for short calls. That's the hype. That's the problem. Dress how you want to dress. Because if you dress how you want to dress and people mistake you to be a millionaire, you won't be afraid to say, guys, I don't have that kind of money, but I can put one M. But hype, the problem with hype, it creates an overestimated perception, which actually works in your demise because you start feeling unwell when you sit in people who have, and you have just created a hype. Someone has 14K followers, you have 5, but you appear like you have 14, it will work against you. So that's also another thing I want to dive into as I'm finishing. We need to understand that sometimes we're in a broken place. Sometimes we need healing.
Yes.
Which can also be termed as help. Guys, if you can't reach a point where you say, I have an issue with this, I need to get myself better, you're still going to go down. Let me give you a practical example. Me in primary, I was one of the fastest guys in my school. I knew it. I believed it. I tried to run in S4 after not practicing and forgetting about running. I was number 5. I had forgotten that these things were practiced. I used to practice every time. I used to run. I was confident about it. No, I had lost that confidence. I failed. What did that teach me? If you want to run again, you have to go back into practice. Some of these things are just mere brokenness. You've been in 4 relationships, they've all gone bad. But you have a friend who has been in a relationship for the last 3 years. He has never changed the girl, and he's always happy when you see him with the girl. Just get up to the guy and say, boss, Ochikolotia, did that woman, is it your mother who got you the woman, your parents, friends? Start a conversation, because you have realized I've been in a year I've failed 4 relationships. This man has been in a relationship for 3 years. Achikolatia, just put your ego down. Be humble enough to say, Mwalimu, how do you do that MC thing? I'm a media personality, but I've never MC'd. How does that thing go? And also have the mental space to realize that Mwalimu can say, you want to crowd the industry, I'm not going to give you my tips, which is okay, because that's his perspective. But he can also say, tomorrow meet me at midday. Then you say you have a program. Issue, you want to be helped in the issue, you can't create time for the man. So I think let's get out of this hype, influencing, misconception, social media. It's a lie. So many people post pictures and you can think they have a minimum of 1 M in their pocket. They're on 0. They didn't even have breakfast.
Very true. Very true.
No, I'm telling you, it's the truth.
You're right.
Now for you're going to say that Mwalimu is always posting at Javas. I have an issue of 5 million. Mwalimu is going to give me 6. You call Mwalimu, he tells you, boss,
You'll say call me tomorrow at 3 p.m.
Then you call tomorrow, it tells you now next week on Tuesday.
Yes.
So I just wanted to address, it's not an issue of hype and how we get about it. I told you guys, go back to the basics. Go back to the basics. Do a self-evaluation. Know who you are. Sometimes we even know. I have an issue with finance.
Yes.
Work upon it. Read about finance. Talk to a finance manager. Talk to guys who are auditors, and so that you get yourself out of that business of hype. Fake it till you make it. You might never make it when you're faking it.
True. Very, very true.
You may end up being a fake man.
Yes, and even more frustrated.
Thank you.
I come from a background of abusing alcohol. No, alcohol abusing me.
Yes.
We
need to get our facts straight.
My tongue had been rolled into saying abusing alcohol. But how do you abuse a drug? It abuses you. You put it in and
it works on you.
And you see, by understanding things of that nature, you realize that there is a better way to do things.
Yeah.
We are men.
Yes.
We need each other.
Yeah.
But we are divided, and that is the whole thing that we are talking about.
Yeah.
You know, how do we build this?
Yeah.
Mwalimu.
Thank you. Let me you yourself.
Yes, let me ask, and you'll add on that. You are in the space of helping people through counseling. It's a difficult thing.
Yeah.
How are you doing that?
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure really being here having this conversation. I'm going to talk to that, and then probably maybe as if we put together also the parting shots, we say what men can do practically to get started. I mean, the counseling, and I also look at this really on a general and greater degree perspective as
not only counseling, by the way, even with your other efforts in
other things.
In other things you do, yes.
It's refreshing for me because I look at it as a ministry, and that's why whenever I hear of any man, by the way, even as we're having this conversation, if you're a man out there and you're struggling and you're looking for someone to talk to, Bill is here, Ron is here, you're going to follow us in our spaces where we've posted, and make a phone call. For me, the first thing is for you to make a phone call or share the number. I'm going to reach out to you because I've realized men will have all these excuses. I don't have money. Maybe they're even struggling at the level of feeling rejected and nobody cares about them. If you share the number, I'll reach out to you. Take you out at a coffee shop. We sit and talk and through things like counsel, and then pray together, and you find a sense of hope and meaning, and know that you're also loved. There are people out there who you're not related with but who care about your well-being. So I do also myself, I find ways of being able to revitalize myself, to refresh, to take care of myself, because we can't give what we don't have. So I do, I'm intentional about exercising. I did before I came here. I've made it a discipline every day. I have my good friends, 3 of them I told you about, who we do life with. I'm a Christian man. I go church, I go fellowships, but also I have a family. My father is my good friend. We talk, and I understand there could be those who don't have relationship with their fathers, and it's a thing to talk about. But those are some of the ways, if that speaks to what you asked about, and then I can put my parting shots together. So a question comes again. As a man, do you have a friend? Do you have a support system? Do you have a brotherhood that you go to when you're going through things? And if you don't have you considered how important it is? Maybe you've been thinking about this. So when you appreciate how important it is, then the question becomes, what is stopping you from starting one or belonging to one? Maybe you're asking yourself, where do I start from? I mentioned it. Let's begin here. Start with one trusted friend. This world with billions of people, you can't say there's no person you can go to and talk to and initiate a friendship. Or be in these groups of OBs. Guys do play this utility soccer, association things and whatever. Look out and find one person that you can start with. Or join a group that's already existing. The Twitter spaces, the physical meetings. Some families have gatherings. Start looking for a group that you can join. If it's not there, then take its responsibility. Some of you have a capacity to initiate and start a group. Now, I'm not talking a drinking group. I'm not talking a group for doing things that are not helpful.
Yes.
I'm talking about a group where we meet and have real men conversations, where we ask hard questions of how are you really doing?
Should make a "How are you" t-shirt.
You know, so it could be a men's group, faith-based. It could be a mental health circle. It could be an accountability group, but also some of those have presented opportunities for saving and things. And when you have a friend that you've started a relationship with, create rhythms of regular check-ins. It's two-way. I call you, but also expect you to call me. But sometimes some people are struggling. You've met them at the point they are low. Don't give up quickly. As a man, actually, from the biblical worldview, you give without expecting anything back.
Yeah.
If there's a man that you've decided to help, don't say, I'm going to help him because of this. Give him help until probably he can't be helped anymore. Like the principle is in recovering. You go and support someone, but if they go, you wait for them when they come back.
Yes.
So those are some of the things. But also when you have this, set clear boundaries. Let us not lose this relationship because of trust. Let's have clear things streamlined why we exist together. Confidentiality, trust, non-judgment, and then consistency. A man is as strong as his spiritual connection with his God. Men, some of us have lost touch with our spirituality.
Very important.
We have a responsibility in society, at workplaces, in family. We've been talking about leadership. God has given us this role to steward community. So, iron sharpens iron. Yeah. Proverbs 27, verse 17. We see even that implied in the Bible. Paul mentoring Timothy and Titus. We see David with Jonathan. So, spiritual, emotional, and mental well-being with a deep connection. A man is only as strong as the brothers who stand with him. If you have no one to talk to, the pressures will talk back. And if they do, they never whisper. Isolation kills. Brotherhood heals. The weight is lighter when we carry it together. I conclude this way, Bill, that there are opportunities for mentorship.
Yes.
As young men also, we need to be young men, and every man out there, if you have any struggles, let's invest in mentorship. Yeah. It's something we need to start talking about in schools, from primary, in communities, the secondary young people, whatever, because maybe men are ending up where they are. We have a troubled society, challenges in homes and wherever, because there's no mentorship for men and boys.
Yes, thank you. RoniRhymes, but you're a radio person, you have a show every morning. He has eaten up all your closing remarks, so it is okay, you'll continue this program on your program. But we are going to tell us something, give us our closing remarks.
One of the things that have made me who I am, that have given me mental strength, that have given me, guts to go on in life, to get a wife, to select a beautiful wife, to get great children, to have a circle of friends that I trust, has been God. The power of God and spirituality is undoubtedly the most powerful thing on earth.
Upon which everything builds.
Because you can have your hope in Him. Miracles come from Him. Sometimes you're lost. You go into devotion and your high negative spirits are calmed down. I would urge every man to get in line with their spirituality.
Very important.
Very.
Seriously, not as a trick, not as to, try. Sometimes guys say the family that prays together sticks together. It's correct.
It's English.
Yes.
It's English, proper English. The power of God is very important.
Very important. Yeah.
Sometimes people's healing is a spiritual problem. Sometimes it is a generational problem. It's coming down from forefathers. Sometimes you're failing to make it in life because there's a certain spiritual connection you entered into, and it can only get out, through.
Yes.
So get yourself back to God, because most of the answers we struggle with are with God.
Thank you very much. Mind Matters. We have come to the end. We've understood men's mental health, stigma and masculinity, building resistance, solution and action. Thank you for listening in. We will be back again next week on Sunday. I'll have to have this gentleman back one way or the other, whether even every other time.